action. Morning, Broussard. Setting the stage for tonight, Suns had their way in Game 1 with the point guard Chris Paul and Devin Booker leading the way outside. And then you got DeAndre Ayton getting it done down low. Bucks have lost Game 1 now in each of their last 3 series. Not great. So, Broussard, can Milwaukee afford to lose Game 2 tonight in Phoenix?
Sure. Look, I've picked the Suns to win this series because I think they're the better team and they present some matchup problems for Milwaukee. But to write the Bucks off if they're down 0-2, that would just be wrong. We in the media and a lot of times fans, we do write teams off early in the series, and usually it's for these abstract reasons like momentum or, we don't think they can mentally bounce back from a bad loss. But to the players, it's different. Each game is an individual game. And obviously they step out there thinking they're not worried about they lost the last game. They believe they can win this one. And Milwaukee has proven that they are a resilient, mentally tough team. They wanted Miami in the first round. They wanted the team that everybody said gave them matchup problems and that last year in the bubble beat them in 5, embarrassed them. They wanted them to get over that mental hurdle. Then they go to Brooklyn, which was laden with stars. They lose the first 2 games. They're down 49 in Game 2. And they come back and win 4 of the next 5 games. I understand the injury to Kyrie, but still, they won 4 of the next 5 games, including a tough Game 7 in Brooklyn. So the Bucks can bounce back. There's no doubt about it. To beat them, you're just going to have to beat them physically. They're not going to be shook. They're not going to lose heart. They're not going to give up. So, yes, they can come back from an 0-2 deficit.
I totally agree with you, Broussard. And Brandon's been hammering a good point when it comes to the Clippers, actually, which was how rare the 0-2 deficits have been to come back from. The stat Brandon's had, I think, it's less than 7% chance to come back from 0-2 down. And that is true over the course of NBA history. It's also true in this postseason. Teams down 0-2 in a series are 3-5. That's like 38%. The Clippers did it twice, and the Bucks did it once. And the fact that the Bucks have already done this and done it in a series they didn't have home court, because the other thing about falling down 0-2, it almost assuredly means if you're going to win the series, you're going to have to win it in 7, and in this case would be a Game 7 on the road. The fact that they've already done that, to me, speaks very well to their chances of doing it again. Brandon, I know you picked the Suns in 5. When I picked the Bucks in 7, I said I thought they'd lose the first 2. Now I thought Giannis might not play the first 2.
Right.
So that obviously changes the math a little bit. But I don't think this is a Milwaukee team that will despair. I think Broussard's point about their mentality, we've talked a lot about Giannis saying not get too high, not get too low. I think if they fall down 0-2, they'll say, okay, this is not where we wanted to be, but we have been here before.
Maybe if Giannis was fully healthy, but he's not. That knee is a big deal. That hyperextended knee is a big deal. He impacted the game on the boards, but for them to win and to win this series, he needs to drop 35 points consistently, which is easy for him when he's healthy, but he's not. Here's the deal. 35 times a team took a 2-0 lead in the NBA Finals, in Finals history. 31 of those 35 teams went on to win the title. That's almost 90%. So it's an absolute, it's a must-win tonight. If they fall back, they have no chance, Wilds. You got CP3 on the other side who's in a moment, and he's not going to let up. He's not going to let those boys not be prepared. He actually talked about that after Game 1. He said, one thing about this team, we will be prepared. So now you got a team who's super smart, they're well coached, and they can play ball. Please, they have no chance if they fall 0-2.
Okay, but I think the Bucks are going to come in with a little bit of a different strategy. And not saying that Game 1 was a feel-out game necessarily, Broussard, but we know that Giannis is on like a low-key minutes restriction. They saw what the Bucks were doing on offense, or to attack their sort of like pick and roll, so they had to switch that up. I think they're going to come out and look very differently. I want to show you a graphic about how good the Suns are early. I think this game, the Coach Bud should put extra emphasis on winning this first quarter. The game one, I think the Suns got the lead at like 3.5 minutes, and they never looked back. And I don't think anyone watching that game felt like, you know what? I think the Bucks are going to win. It felt like Tom Hanks and Wilson the volleyball as it just slowly drifted further and further away. It gets up to 17. Oh, Campaign hits something. Oh, you're up to 20. It comes down to 10. It never felt like they were really going to win the game. But I think this game is going to be different, Broussard, for the following reasons. One, I think they take care of the ball. They had 9 steals, the Suns did. I don't think they get that many. 2, although Nick wanted him to be meaner and more aggressive about it, the free throw discrepancy was real, and the refs are going to take notice of it. They're going to get a few more whistles. And 3, Drew Holiday will continue to play great defense on Devin Booker, but he's not going to have 10 points. We know that the Milwaukee Bucks team, front office, and fans are loyal viewers of this show. We've been harping on Drew Holiday's need to be more aggressive, and I think they'll take our advice.
Well, Wiles, and I would add to that, I think Giannis will be much better. Look, we have to understand his conditioning was off. He was probably rusty. The one thing that was interesting, because physically he looked pretty close to normal, not fully 100%, but close to normal. But you didn't see the Euro step as much. So you wonder, is that related to the injury? Can he bring that back? But I do think he'll be better offensively. Let me throw this at you too, Brandon, because you brought up a lot of stats. And I understand that. But we have to realize it's a different day. And the reason we see more teams coming back from 2-0, heck, even going back to LeBron's rally from 3-1 down in 2016 against Golden State, a lot of this is because of the three-point shot. It is easier. Look how many rallies there have been in these playoffs, just in an individual game. Now, Phoenix is smart, and they don't rely on the three like a lot of teams. So a lot of teams get up, and then they keep shooting the three, and if they go cold, they can allow the other team to get back in it while the other team can get hot. So Phoenix isn't that – they don't play that way, but still, Milwaukee could catch fire from 3 if they're down in a game or in a series, and that could get them back in. So that's why – your stats are legit, but it's a little bit of a different day, and you got to take that into account.
And that's fair. No, and that's fair because numbers only tell half the story. There's so much more to the story than numbers. But I'm using that. I'm taking the numbers and I'm also looking at the team. I'm looking at who they have. We're talking about Booker and we're talking about CP3. So let's say they win this game. This is what happens, right? The MJ moment. How many times have we seen a player win a title in the NBA and they're sitting in a locker room with the trophy and a stogie? That's MJ. I bring that up because of the mindset, and I say this all the time. We don't talk about it enough in sports. We always talk about the physical. We don't never talk about the mindset enough, right? Where these players, that's all they're thinking about. CP3 right now is sitting in a hotel, and all he's doing is visualization. That's all he's doing is he's going through the game. He's playing the game before the game is even played. He's also looking at, man, if I hit that game winner, then this is going to be played year after year after year. What am I going to do when I have my MJ moment? Am I going to grab the trophy? Am I going to do this? So I'm saying that because this moment right now is big for Booker. It's big for CP3. These dudes can ball. So if you drop 0-2 to this team, you have no chance because of how locked in they are. That's why they're in this position right now, is because they've been riding this wave.
And they've been excellent all year. And they've been the most consistent team in the playoffs, and they deserve credit for that, and Brandon deserves credit for pointing it out early. I also think Giannis is doing a lot of those same visualizations. I don't know about with a cigar or not, I'm not sure. But you mentioned one of the stats you mentioned, Brandon, was you said 31 of the 35 teams that have gone up 2-0 have won the title. And Broussard, maybe help me with this before we break. So what are the 4 that were down 0-2 and came back? So you had maybe the greatest NBA finals ever, the 69 finals, Bill Russell's final title against Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, and Wilt Chamberlain. The Celtics fell down 0-2, but they had Bill Russell, so of course they came back and won. The forgotten 77 finals with Bill Walton, they were down 0-2, then they won 4 straight against Dr. J, despite Dr. J being amazing. Maybe the most famous one that people do remember Wade to the Mavs, fell down 0-2, then they won 4 straight. Right. There's what's the fourth one? I can't remember. Oh, greatest player ever against the greatest team ever. That's what it was, right? 2016, LeBron down 0-2 to they weren't just down 3-1, down 0-2. So those are the 4 instances that it's happened. I do think, Broussard, it could be part and parcel for Giannis, as we've talked about, him trying to, become one of the greatest players ever. If part of his story is, I was down 0-2 in the finals. Didn't matter. I was down 0-2 to Durant. Didn't matter. Came back and won those series.
Oh, no, it'd certainly be a feather in his cap. There's no question about that. Look, right now, let's face it, even if the Bucks win this series, he's not yet on the level of LeBron James and some of the other guys you mentioned.
Of course.
Because of the holes in his games. However, when you start picking nits later on in